Pompeii is one of the most significant proofs of Roman civilization and, like an open book, provides outstanding information on the art, customs, trades and everyday life of the past. The city has re-emerged from the darkness of centuries precisely as it would have been when it was unexpectedly buried in the thick layer of ash and lava which poured down from the devastating eruption of Vesuvius. It was the year 79 AD. The scale of the tragedy was appalling. In what had been one of the most active and splendid Roman centers, life came to a permanent standstill. The thick layer of volcanic material which submerged it, made up to a large extent of ash and lapilli, non-hard material. Unlike that which covered Herculaneum and which solidified into extremely hard stone, has meant that the city has remained intact until the present day, not only as far as its buildings are concerned, but also as regards the contents inside the houses and shops, providing an absolutely fascinating picture of daily life. The walls of the houses are covered with electoral propaganda messages or risque jokes aimed at particular citizens. The signs on the shop doorways indicate the activity carried out there or the name of the owner. Alongside the elegant villas belonging to the nobility and the luxurious residences of the middle class, stand modest houses where several families lived. The peasant dwellings, on the other hand, are situated around vegetable gardens or small plots of land. On the edge of the city stood the brothels, squalid rooms intended as places of pleasure for sailors and travelers passing through, in the narrow lanes. The workshops and utility rooms provide further evidence of the daily routine performed by workmen and slaves as well as the women of the house. The houses still contain furniture, ornaments, gold and silverware, work tools, kitchenware, bronze and terracotta lamps, foodstuffs of all kinds, counters for serving drinks, grain mills and grindstones, workshops for manufacturing cloth, smithies and outlets selling groceries, fruit and vegetables. There is a remarkable record of Roman painting, of which, without the finds made in Pompeii, virtually nothing would be known. The architecture and development of the various types of houses is also amply documented. Thus, the excavated city provides outstanding historical evidence of Roman civilization. These reminders of the past, which are so vivid and tangible in the remains brought to light, contribute to the fascination of the present. On the eve of that fateful eruption in 79 AD, scholars estimate that there were about 12,000 people living in Pompeii and almost as many in the surrounding region 16 years after that telltale earthquake. In either August or October 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted again. The blast sent a plume of ashes, pumice and other rocks. and scorching hot volcanic gases so high into the sky that people could see it for hundreds of miles around. As it cooled, this tower of debris drifted to earth. First the fine-grained ash, then the lightweight chunks of pumice and other rocks. It was terrifying. I believed I was perishing with the world, Pliny wrote, and the world with me, but not yet lethal. Most Pompeians had plenty of time to flee. For those who stayed behind, however, conditions soon grew worse. As more and more ash fell, it clogged the air, making it difficult to breathe. Buildings collapsed. Then, a pyroclastic surge, a 100 miles per hour surge of superheated poison gas and pulverized rock poured down the side of the mountain and swallowed everything and everyone in its path. By the time the Vesuvius eruption sputtered to an end the next day, Pompeii was buried under millions of tons of volcanic ash. About 2,000 Pompeians were dead. But the eruption killed as many as 16,000 people overall. Some people drifted back to town in search of lost relatives or belongings, but there was not much left to find. Pompeii, along with the neighboring town of Herculaneum and a number of villas in the area, was abandoned for centuries. Rediscovering Pompeii. Pompeii remained mostly untouched until 1748, when a group of explorers looking for ancient artifacts arrived in Campania and began to dig. They found that the ashes had acted as a marvelous preservative. Underneath all that dust, Pompeii was almost exactly as it had been almost 2,000 years before. Its buildings were intact. Skeletons were frozen right where they'd fallen. Everyday objects and household goods littered the streets. Later archaeologists even uncovered jars of preserved fruit and loaves of bread. Many scholars say that the excavation of Pompeii played a major role in the neoclassical revival of the 18th century. Europe's wealthiest and most fashionable families displayed art and reproductions of objects from the ruins, and drawings of Pompeii's buildings helped shape the architectural trends of the era. For example, wealthy British families often built Etruscan rooms that mimicked those in Pompeian villas. Today, the excavation of Pompeii has been going on for almost 3 centuries. And scholars and tourists remain just as fascinated by the city's eerie ruins as they were in the 18th century.